It's your girl, Meka Shanell, back with another edition of Meka Shanell is Just Saying. Okay, I'm about to reposition my camera real fast, y'all. I'm gonna have to get me one of those little tripod thingies. I got a little ghetto setup going on over here. Anyway, like I said, it's your girl, Meka Shanell, back with another edition of Meka Shanell is Just Saying. Okay, so we are talking about The Real Housewives of New York. It is already season number 7. I cannot believe it. I've been there since the beginning. I've been watching Bravo for a lot of years, y'all. Anyways, Real Housewives of New York, season 7, episode number 2. I didn't get the blog last week. Like I said in my last blog, I've been just so unorganized. I'm going to get it together, though. I really am, because I really would like to do, like, at least 3 blogs consistently each week, because I watch a lot of shows. But there's a couple of shows that I refuse to blog about that I watch. You know, Blackish. I mean, I can't blog about Blackish. It's just funny, and it's only 30 minutes. But like Game of Thrones is bad, you know, House of Cards, or is it House of Lies? The one on Netflix, not the one on Showtime. Anyways, and then, you know, girls, like, it's just a lot. It's just a lot of shows that I watch that I just don't want to blog about. But of course, you know, the Housewives are crazy, so I'm gonna blog about them. And then I just did a blog on If Loving You Is Wrong. But anyways, like I was saying, I'm gonna get organized so that I can consistently put out at least 3 blogs a week. One blog is going to be just about some random stuff that I want to talk about, and I'm still trying to think about what I'm going to call it. I think it's just going to be like LOL girl, because I say that all the time. So I think that's what I'm going to call it. Anyway, so yeah, so back to The Real Housewives of New York, season 7, episode number 2. So last week's episode was crazy, you know. It was like the first episode. Usually the first episodes of the Housewives are always a little slow. You know, you're getting reintroduced to the characters. You're getting introduced to some of the new characters, which we have Dorinda. She's new this season. She seems like she's going to be a lot of fun. She seems like I don't know if she's going to be as open in person with the ladies as she is in her one-on-one interviews, but I hope she's going to be, you know, as open with them as she is in the interviews, because she's spunky. She's got a lot to say, and, you know, I think I'm going to like her a little bit. And then, of course, the B is back. Bethany Frankel is back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I fell in love with her in The Real Housewives of New York, like, years ago. And, you know, I remember the whole, like, she was broke and she was trying to do her Bethany Bakes. Y'all remember that episode? She was in a grocery store and she was trying to give away her little muffins, and she was making them all nasty, vegan, gluten-free, taste-free muffins. Nobody want to eat that mess, but she, like, considers herself a natural chef, you know, and all of that. So they might want them dang muffins. They might taste good, I don't know, but I don't want no muffins that don't have no, this vegan. First of all, vegan muffins, I mean, you don't use no butter, no milk. I mean, come on now. The butter makes it. If you don't have butter in your cookies and your cake, I'm sorry, I need some real butter in my desserts. Otherwise, why are you even eating desserts? If you can't put real butter in it, don't eat it. Just eat one. You don't have to eat the whole dang tin of muffins, you know what I'm saying? Just eat one muffin. That's all you gotta do. Everything in moderation, people. Everything in moderation. I'm just going somewhere with all the other stuff. You know, I mean, I've been on a diet. Actually, I've been following Atkins, and I'm down like almost 30 pounds since the end of January. So, like, I get the whole dieting thing, but I mean, everything is in moderation. I still eat pretty much whatever I want, except things that don't agree with me anymore. You know, I'm getting older. I'm like going to be 36 this year, and your body changes as you get older. Like, you can't eat the same types of food, you know, like ice cream. Oh my God, ice cream is just not my friend anymore. Anyway, so I'm not even talking about getting old and all of that craziness. I am talking about The Real Housewives of New York. So we open up, well, like I was saying, like I was talking about how, you know, last week's episode, you know, and introducing everybody or whatever. So we start off this week with, what happened in the first part? Heather and Carol. Oh yeah, so Heather and Carol are in the car, a taxi car, whatever, on their way to the Hamptons. I guess Sag Harbor, to be exact, is where Luann just bought her new house. She is in the process of selling her old house that she had with her ex-husband, and, you know, she was still living in that house. Even last season, I believe she was still living in that house when she was, like, living with Jock and living in, like, in the Hamptons and back and forth and stuff. So you know, she's having an estate sale at her house, at her home, and you know they're having a whole like girls' weekend. So all the ladies are coming down to the Hamptons. So you see Carol and Heather there in the car. There's not much to that scene. They're just kind of discussing like, have you seen Ramona? Have you seen Sonia? Because you know those are the two that Heather and Carol, you know, kind of had a little bit of issues with. But, you know, it wasn't really too much gossip going on, and that was pretty much it with that scene. Then you see Ramona and Dorinda. Ramona and Dorinda, I guess, go way back, as well as Dorinda and the Countess Luann. They all go, I guess, way back or whatever. So it's going to be kind of cool to see how their dynamic works out on this show, because I really get the feeling that Ramona is over Sonia. Like, I was getting that feeling last season that she was just kind of over Sonia. I mean, Sonia's a lot to take. I like Sonia a lot, but she's a lot to take. Anyway, so they arrive at Ramona's Hampton house, and you know she's kind of like discussing, you know, they bought the house when their daughter Avery, her and her husband, they're like going through a divorce or whatever, Mario. So their daughter Avery, they only have one child, a daughter Avery. She said they bought that Hampton house when she was like 6 months old. They spent every Christmas, every Thanksgiving there, every summer they come there. You know, and Avery is in her, I believe, going into her second year of college or something. So, you know, the house has a lot of memories, a lot of family memories. And you know, her and her husband are going through that crazy divorce. He, like, basically just, I mean, not only did the man cheat on her, like, he, like, got a whole new, like, girlfriend that's half his age, flaunting her around town, and just a lot, you know, just a lot. I just don't understand that. Like, why do you have to, well, you know, Dorinda says that in this clip. She's kind of like, if you want to leave, just leave. You don't have to, like, embarrass the person that you vow to spend the rest of your life with, to protect and to love. You know, if it's over, you don't have to embarrass them like that. And it was like really public and everything with him and this other lady. I think the chick had gotten pregnant or something. I don't know, like something crazy like that. So they were just kind of talking about that, and then they were talking about Sonia, Ramona and Sonia's relationship, you know, and Sonia is actually coming to stay with Ramona in the Hamptons for the weekend, but she hasn't gotten there yet. So they were talking about Sonia, and Ramona's just like feeling sad that she can't get into like deep conversations with Sonia, and you know, like she wants to confide in Sonia and have someone to talk to, but Sonia can't get deep like that with her. And Dorinda's like, well, maybe because Sonia has so many things going on in her life, Dorinda's like, you know, well, maybe that's her way of dealing with things, just ignoring it and scraping it under the rug and just kind of moving on, acting like everything's okay. She's, you know, she seems like a person that's in denial, and whether it's your problem or her problem, she doesn't want to talk about problems because then it'll bring up her stuff and it'll make her feel bad or whatever. So that's what Dorinda's take on it is. I kind of agree with her. I think that's kind of, I've always thought that way about Sonia. Like, I mean, she seemed like she has that bubbly personality, but she does seem like she doesn't want to face really what's going on, because she's always talking about, like, when she was with her ex-husband. I mean, I feel like they've been divorced now for like 6 or 7 years, 8, 9, like at least, it's been a long time. They've been divorced as long as they were married, and they were only married for like 6 or 7 years. You know what I'm saying? So like, she keeps going on and on about my ex-husband and the things that we had. You know, she always talks about that. So, you know, she probably is in a little bit of denial, and it is very sad. No, she was married to Morgan. I can't think of what his first name is, but he's like the Morgan of JP Morgan and Chase. You know what I'm saying? So I don't blame her. She ain't gonna get that up either. And then he ain't gonna give her any money either. So yeah. Anyway, so you see Luann at her estate sale with who's there with her? I believe Heather and Carol are both there with her. People are, you know, just around and buying things from her. Then it flashes over to Bethany. Bethany's getting prepared to go to the Hamptons, but Bethany is not driving to the Hamptons. Oh, no, 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 not the skinny girl herself. Skinny girl flies to the Hamptons from New York. Probably like a 20-minute flight, but if you can, do it. I don't blame her at all. Don't nobody want to be in traffic, seriously. So, you know, they head on to the airport and then they fly over to the Hamptons or whatever. But you see her in the car just kind of talking to her assistant about, you know, she's so sick of being in her car, because in last episode she was talking about how she's like the wealthiest homeless person, which is so weird. Like, I understand though, because she's like, she showed her struggles on this show in the beginning and how broke she was and how she just wanted to be successful. She wanted to create her own business and she wanted to make all this money. And now that she has it, like, her ex-husband, Jason, did y'all watch her show Back in the Ever After? Anyways, you know I watched it, of course. Anyways. Anyway, so her husband, Jason, is living in the apartment. And she feels like, you know, I worked all my life to get to where I am. And the place that I put all my blood, sweat, and tears into, I picked every tile, I picked every color on the wall. Like, you know, she put a lot into it. And now he's living there and she's living in a hotel. Though she does have a house in the Hamptons and she does not have to live in a hotel, but she did say she bought an apartment and she's just waiting on it to be renovated. But she's just going through a lot, you know. I'm like, who has a 3-year divorce? Like, I understand, like, people just separate and they don't plan and they don't get a divorce and they just go on with their lives. But she's been in, like, going through this divorce for a long, long time. And I'm like, my goodness, you guys weren't even married that long. Like, what could he possibly even get from you? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even if you saw her show, like, when she traveled, you know, she had her nanny and her assistant and the baby with her. Like, it wasn't like she was always leaving the baby with him at home. Like, I don't even understand, like, what exactly is it that he's going to get from her, you know? But I guess she did get the money after they were married and he was helping with the business. So maybe that's what they're fighting over. I don't know, but he wouldn't be in my apartment. We'd have to figure something else out. Anyway, so yeah, so like I said, they're headed to the Hamptons and she's just talking about that and how frustrated she is, and that was pretty much it with that scene. Then it goes back to Luann's estate sale, and Heather and Dorinda speak, and they kind of let the ladies know that they both have homes in the Berkshires or Berkshire, I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's called Berkshire. Anyways, that they both have vacation homes there, and that's how they know each other. Because you remember from last season, Heather took all the ladies to her Berkshire house, and Ramona, like, had a fit because it didn't have air conditioner, and then she, like, Googled it and said, like, the houses were only worth, like, $400,000, and I mean, well, that's a nice size house for $400,000, and even, like, I think her house is worth more than that, but even if it isn't, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, really, Ramona? Anyway, so yeah, so Heather and Dorinda, you know, at the state party, they were kind of like talking about how they know each other, but then Heather just kind of makes a little snippy comment in her one-on-one interview, and she's like, yeah, well, you know, we know each other from there. We're kind of like new friends. Like, we didn't grow up together because there's a bit of an age difference. And I'm like, girl, you could have kept that to yourself. Was that a little bit of shade that you were trying to throw at Dorinda? Really? Because she's a little older than you? You could have kept that to yourself, honey, because your ass over 40, so it don't even matter anymore. Who was older, who was younger, okay? Y'all both on the way out soon. And I'm going to be there just as fast as you there right now, because I'll be 36 this year, so whatever. And I don't know. It was just kind of weird that she said that. Then you see Ramona apologize to Luann for the 100,000th time that she apologized. But she's just telling Luann, I'm so sorry about the things in the past that I said about your marriage. Because you remember, in the beginning, Luann was still married to her husband, whose name is Alex. He was the Count. And, well, he is a Count. You remember, he wasn't really on the show. And then, you know, you could tell they were having some issues or whatever just by some of the things that the ladies were whispering about or whatever. And then it comes out that he left her for some African princess or something. Like, these housewives, they let her go to Africa and get somebody, right? Like, on Atlanta, everybody on Atlanta marrying or dating or cheating with African princes. And now, like, and then Luann's husband is supposed to be married to an African Nigerian princess or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the thing to do? If you're a housewife, you go find you an African somewhere, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, shit, they got money like that? I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so yeah, so like, and then Ramona had made some comments about it because she was upset a little bit. I'm going back a few seasons, but I guess she was upset a little bit because Luann this was around the time where people were kind of speculating that Mario maybe, you know, like cheating or whatever, because they said that he was with, I think they did, like, went to a psychic or something, and the psychic had said that Mario had a younger woman, And so Ramona was like, oh, he's talking about Avery, our daughter or whatever. So then, you know, I guess she got upset about Luann making a comment saying, asking her how her marriage was or whatever. And then Ramona I think Ramona made the comment before, like, I've been married 18 years and, you know, you'd be lucky to be married 18 years and you need to worry about keeping your own husband or whatever. And we're very happy. And then Luann's like, oh, so how is that going or whatever. So, you know, they had that thing going. This is like a couple, maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago. But anyways, so I guess, so Ramona, yes, last night apologized to Luann about all of the comments that she said about her marriage. She's like, you know, I get it now. I'm so sorry. All of this and all of that. Hindsight is 20/20 all the time. Luann is cautiously accepting her apology because she's like, I mean, Ramona always apologizes to her and then they always end up right back in the same spot. So she's cautious with Ramona, which everybody should be. Anyway, so later on, you see everybody like at their own homes or whatever. Ramona and Dorinda are at her house, and then Sonya arrives. And Sonya arrives like a hurricane. She comes in like, what did Miley Cyrus say? Like a wrecking ball. She comes in like a dang wrecking ball. I mean, it's like she like overwhelms poor Dorinda. Dorinda's like, she just comes through the door and she's just talking. She's in the middle of a conversation already, and like, am I supposed to jump into the conversation? I don't even know what she's even talking about. Like, Dorinda's like, she just was like, woo. Like, Dorinda's like very overwhelmed by Sonya and, you know, all that she is. And she refers to Sonya. She's like, yes, of course I know of Sonya. She's like, if you live on the Upper East Side in New York, you know, everybody knows of Sonya Morgan. She's kind of like an urban myth or whatever. So it was just kind of funny how she describes her. But, you know, they just go on and, I don't know. Sonya was a little upset that Ramona gave Dorinda the room that she normally sleeps in or whatever. So that was it with that scene. Then you see the next morning at Luann's. Carol, they're all in the kitchen. It looks like around like maybe breakfast or sometime in between breakfast and lunchtime, because they're trying to like open up a bottle of champagne. But Carol is so like sidetracked by Luann's very young chef, and he is kind of cute, you know. So she's so like distracted. She spills a little bit of champagne on the carpet. She's trying to like clean it up before Luann sees it. You can tell she keeps looking up and trying to dab, looking up at Luann or whatever. And I mean, the guy was very, you know, he's very handsome or whatever. And then they start talking about Luann's son. I can't think of what his name is right now. But you see him grow up on the show, and he's like he's 18 now. He's about to go away to college. I think his name is Max or something like that. And I'm like, wow, he grew up to be a very, very handsome young man. I just remember like when he was younger, you know, you know how little boys are. They have the high-pitched voice and they're small, and you know, the show's been on for 7 years, so 7 years is a long time for kids, you know what I mean? Like, they really go through a lot of stages in 7 years, so, you know, it's cute to see how he, you know, is growing up. And then Kristen arrives, and, you know, Kristen's the model, and of course he's checking out Kristen or whatever, which is kind of cute or whatever, I guess. And then they just kind of get around the table and they talk. Luann tells them about Ramona apologizing to her, and they talk about how maybe her marital problems are kind of humbling her a little bit, and it may be a good thing that she's being humbled or whatever. The next scene, you see Sonya, Dorinda, and Ramona. They're at lunch, and Ramona's sister comes. I don't know if I've ever seen her sister or any of her family on the show, for that matter. But her sister shows up, and somehow Sonya sticks her foot in her mouth again, as always. She brings up Mario in an indirect way. She goes, because Ramona said something about being spicy or hot tempered or something, I don't know. And then she goes like, because yeah, that's how Italians are. And Ramona's like, but I'm not Italian. And she's like, well, I'm sorry, Mario's Italian, you were married for 27 years. And Ramona's like, but that doesn't make me Italian. Like, what are you talking about? So then they get into this whole thing about how she's not Italian, and because they were kind of comparing, oh, this is how they got on the subject, because Dorinda was talking about her man and how he's so, you know, great to her. And so then that's when Sonya said, yeah, because that's how those Italians are or whatever. So then Ramona kind of got a little bit annoyed because, you know, Mario's name was brought up or whatever. That was pretty much it. You go over to Luann's house again, and they're getting ready for her little party that she's having that night. She invited a bunch of people over too. Of course, Carol is still in the kitchen flirting, and Luann teases her a little bit about cooking in her kitchen when Carol doesn't even have a kitchen in her house, like in her apartment. Like, who doesn't have a kitchen? Literally, she like remodeled her apartment. I don't know if it's last season or the season before. And her kitchen, like, she didn't have a kitchen. I guess she's like, she doesn't need a kitchen. She does takeout all the time. She doesn't have dishes, you know. She's like living the life of a bachelorette. And, you know, I mean, it's kind of weird. But I guess maybe that's kind of New York because I don't know. But it just seems weird. Even as a single person, you want a kitchen, right? Don't you want to, I mean, warm up a TV dinner one night or something? I mean, I don't know. Like, put some, I don't know. It's just weird to me. So yeah, so they kind of tease her about that, and then you see Sonia come, and she kind of throws a little shade, talking about how Luann's house is cozy and how her other house is like so grand, and it was made for the Countess Luann, and this house is very cozy and smaller or whatever. So she kind of threw a little shade about that. Then she pulls like everybody's pouring their drinks, and she's like, I want a beer. So she pulls a beer out of her purse, and Luann just thinks that is just so unladylike, you know. She's just like, I cannot believe that she pulled a beer out of her purse. Then Bethany arrives. You know, she's chatting with everybody, and you know, just seemed to be having a good time. Carol was kind of like I think she was a little starstruck when she saw Bethany. She's like, oh wow, the skinny girl herself is right here, or whatever. She's just like kind of caught off guard a little bit with Bethany. But, you know, they were all talking, and it seemed like they were having a good time. Bethany was being herself. You know, she talks a lot. She talks fast, and, you know, she's very self-deprecating or whatever. Then Ramona and Dorinda come in, and I don't know what it is about Ramona and Bethany, but they just are always like yap at each other. Like, they're more like not hands, they're more like dogs. And even like Heather said, or Carol is like, it's the battle of the alpha dogs, because like as soon as she walks in, she like compliments Ramona on her outfit, because Ramona normally she wears dresses all the time, but this season Ramona's been dressing down. She's been wearing jeans and funky little sweatshirts, and that night she had like, she was rocking like a biker girl look or whatever. I mean, it's not that she doesn't look nice, you know, it's just very different from how she normally dresses or whatever. So she goes, Bethany compliments Ramona, and she's like, yeah, I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks. This is what Ramona said. So then Bethany's like, I can't believe you call yourself an old dog, you know, kind of joking, and Ramona's like, no, I wasn't calling myself an old dog. So then they start going back and forth about this comment about the old dog or whatever, and it was just kind of weird, you know, just a strange conversation. And then you see Heather come cozy up next to Bethany, and it's like, yeah, you know, I was looking at your first book up in Luann's house, and you know, I saw the comment that you wrote, thanks for helping me with Skinny Girl or whatever, and she was telling me that she helped you with the name, and I think you owe her a car or something. And Bethany's like, I don't owe Luann anything, you know, Luann didn't come up with anything, you know. Now, I'm trying to remember, because they even did a flashback to the episode, which I remember the episode just as clear, and I remember Bethany ordered the cocktail, and Luann said, what is that? And Bethany was like, it's the Skinny Girl cocktail, and she gave her the ingredients or whatever, and she's like, you know, I created this, it's in this restaurant or whatever, and that's when it got like really popular, and it was like everywhere. This was before she had it in the bottle, you know what I mean? So like, this was years ago, but I don't recall her asking Luann like, so what do you think I should name it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't recall that. I remember Alex, the other chick Alex that was on the show, like did a sketch of what she thought the Skinny Girl should look like, but she didn't even use that sketch, so I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know what's going on. So, like, Heather's like, yeah, my friend helped me with Yummy, and if I sold it for $50 million, you bet I'd buy my friend a car. And Heather's can sometimes be annoying. She's all the time annoying, actually. I'm not a fan of Heather's. Not at all. Anyway, Bethany's like, you know, whatever, move on. And then all of a sudden, Bethany and Ramona get into it again. Because, like, so Bethany's like, so let's talk about last time you had sex, and she, like, jokes with Ramona, like, I know you don't want to talk about it or whatever. Ramona's like, why? I like sex. Why can't I talk about it? So then they talk about how Ramona's dating or whatever, and Bethany's like, oh, you're dating? You know, trying to, you know, sounding kind of interested or whatever, and they're like, yeah, she's keeping the company of men. And Bethany's like, oh, well, that sounds like you're sleeping around and being promiscuous, which I know you're not. So, like, it just sounds like it. So then they had another disagreement about the wording of something. So then they start going at it. So then they change the subject again about who's going to go to brunch. What are they going to do for brunch the next day? Ramona suggested place. Luann's like, no, I want to use my boat and I can't get there by boat. I really want to use my boat. So Bethany's like, why don't we all come to my house and have breakfast and this and that? And then, Sonia's like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. And Ramon's like, okay. Bethany's like, okay, so I know for sure you're coming to my house. That's one down. And then Ramon's like, actually, no, you're not, Sonia. You're not going to her house. You're my guest. And then she starts going in at Bethany like, how dare you try and poach one of my guests? How dare you invite one of my guests? They're at my house. And then, Bethany's like, oh my God, I didn't even know. I didn't know that, this was camp. And she couldn't leave your camp or whatever. And so then, Ramona, goes to Luann and is, asking Luann, is this appropriate? And can she ask my guest? Sonia is my guest, whatever. And, Bethany's like, this conversation is ridiculous. Really, as a grown woman, are we actually having this conversation? Did you really have to go ask another grown woman if this was appropriate? It was just crazy. It was just so crazy. I could not believe Ramona said that. All the other ladies were looking like, what? What is going on, and Ramona's like, well, I sent everybody an email that I was hosting a brunch and no one received the email. Everybody's like, I didn't get an email. I didn't get an email. Ramona, you didn't send an email. Seriously, you just thought about that right then and there. So then Bethany leaves, and I guess there was valet parking in front of Luann had hired someone to valet. So while Bethany's waiting on her car, Ramona comes out, and Ramona's going on and on and on, about how Bethany's needs to calm down and she's acting crazy, but Bethany wasn't saying a word. The whole time she was very calm. Ramona's the one that was getting excited, and she's like, Bethany, calm down. I want you to calm down, Bethany. And Bethany's like, I am calm. I'm very calm. She's like, Bethany, I want you to calm down. And Bethany's like, look, I don't want anything to do with you. I just want to be away from you right now. I just want my car. I want to get out of here. You're crazy. You're I don't even want to be on the Ramona culture ever. I didn't sign up for this, So, I thought it was hilarious. It was the funniest thing in the world. It was just so funny the way, Ramona was just like, Bethany, okay, I know you're upset. I'm surprised Bethany didn't just snap. I probably would have just choked the shit out of her and be like, I'm calm. I need to calm down now. You done made me uncalm. I was calm and now I'm not. It was so funny. That was really it though. Then Ramona goes back in the house and was like, Bethany has drawn a line in the sand and she's on that line, that side, I'm on this side, or whatever. So I don't know. That was hilarious. It really was. I think what happened was that Ramona saw how irrational she was being inside the house, and then she came outside and she wanted to try to flip it around and make it seem like Bethany was in the wrong, but it wasn't working. So she just went with it anyway, as if Bethany was acting crazy, So she didn't know what else to do, so she just went with her original plan, Bethany's crazy. Oh my goodness, that was funny. Anyway, so yeah, that was the end of the episode. Next week looks like it's gonna be, kind of good. I think Kelly Ben-Simone comes to a party of Luann's or something, and Bethany gets upset because y'all know what happened with them on Scary Island a few seasons ago. But anyway, so that was it for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 7, Episode 2. Yeah. So I will be back, I promise, next week with another edition of The Real Housewives of New York, among others. So until then, stay real, stay safe, and stay tuned to Meka Shanell Is Just Saying. Bye-bye.